All right, question number 4. Once again, same questions pretty much, just different equation. So use the graph and your pattern detection skills to complete the table and write an equation. So let's look at our first point here, -2. It's at 9. -1, it's at 3. And at 0, we are at 1. So we need to come up with an equation given those 3 points. Remember, your equation should be in y equals a times b to the x. This is what I'm looking for on Socrative, is this form. So make sure you've got the y equals, make sure you have the parentheses and the exponent. On Socrative, you are going to have to put that shift 6, that caret value, the exponent button. You will have to put that on there. So remember, when we're putting an equation into Socrative and we're coming up with this equation, we want to know 2 things. We want to know what a is. And once again, a is that initial value, or it's my y-intercept. So when x equals 0, what is the y value? That's what we're going to put in for a. And then this b is going to be my growth ratio. So when I go from 9 to 3, what am I multiplying by? And I know it might be easy to see what we're going to divide by, but you have to have what we multiply by. Otherwise, it's a completely different equation, completely wrong equation. So if you're not sure how to do that, remember we can divide the bottom number by the top number. And you can watch the last video. I have a demo of how to do that. So in Socrative, I want you to come up with this equation in Socrative and tell me what the equation for this one's going to be. So go ahead and pause your video and go ahead and do that. All right, now that you've figured that out, we got to continue with our pattern here. So as you can see that we're going to multiply by 1/3, which is the same thing as dividing by 3. So 9 times 1/3 is going to be 3, or 9 divided by 3 equals 3. 9 times 1/3 is going to give us 1. I'm sorry, 3 times 1/3 is going to give us 1. Continuing this pattern, times 1/3, we get 1/3. Continuing the pattern, we get 1/9. And then at 3, if we continue this pattern of timesing by 1/3, we are going to get 1/27. Okay. Don't forget about this -3 value up here. I want you to give me what this is in Socrative. Okay? So make sure you give me what that value is in Socrative. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to. All right, question B, use your equation to find the value of the exponential function at x equals -2. Does your answer match the value you found for x equals -2 in the table? So go ahead and do this one. I'm not going to do it just because I don't want to show the equation, but go ahead and make sure that your value checks out. And then last but not least, use your equation to find the value of the exponential function at x equals -10. So if you want to, go ahead and search the table for this one. Otherwise, plug it in. So you've got your equation y equals a times b to the x, but now instead of the x, you will put in -10. Go ahead and tell me what that value is. You don't have to do it in Socrative, but just figure it out. Perfectly. Hopefully now you've figured it out. If you do want to check your answers, feel free to just raise your hand, and I'll come by and see if you did see correctly. You should have the equation, though. Even if you got it wrong, the Socrative should have given you the correct equation, so hopefully you wrote that down. Once you're done with that, go ahead and on to 5. All right, question 5 is very, very similar. Once again, let's record our points that we know. So -1, 8, 0, 4, and 1, 2. Okay. So hopefully you can see the pattern that's going on here. Don't forget in your equation, y equals a times b to the x. A is my initial value, or it's my y-intercept, and then b is the growth ratio. So how I get from 8 to 4, what I'm multiplying by. Go ahead and do all of this problem, and then give me your answers on Socrative. So the first question on Socrative is going to ask you for your equation. So the same as question number 4. Make sure it's in this kind of format. Make sure you've got the y equals. Make sure you have the parentheses, and then make sure you have that little shift 6 or that caret to show me that the x is an exponent. Next question on Socrative is going to ask for this value right here. So when x is -2, what is my y value? So go ahead and either plug that in on a table, plug it in your calculator, find that value. And then my very last question on Socrative, so the third one for this one, is question number C. So using your equation to find the value of the exponential function at x equals -15. So you're going to give me this answer to this one also on Socrative. And once you're done with this, go ahead and flip it over to 6 and 7.